Hi folks, and welcome to another install video for the Mustang. Yeah, I've decided that I'd like to fit a dash cam. So I've been through all the research and made some inquiries. I absolutely knew nothing about dash cams, to be honest, other than, you know, what I've seen on YouTube. So being a bit of a novice, I thought, right, the best thing to do is to ask what everybody else is fitting in their Mustangs. And it came down to two models. There was either the Thinkware Dashcam, the F770 or F750. The 770 supersedes the 750, or the Blackview CH650, I think it was called. Both of them have front and rear cameras, so I actually preferred the Blackview camera when I first saw it, because I thought it would be a neater installation. It's an actual neat, looks like a neater unit. But then I made more inquiries and sort of looked up the specifications of both cameras and so on and so forth. And bottom line was, I felt that the Thinkware was the better camera, actually, for my requirements anyway. It's a 1060 HD at the front and the rear, whereas the Blackview isn't. This one has parking mode on it, and the Blackview, it's another component to do it, to get the parking mode. And the other thing was that in the UK anyway, pricing, it worked out that the Thinkware, give or take, was around £100 cheaper. So yeah, although the front camera is probably not going to be quite as discreet as the Blackview one when it's actually on the windscreen. The actual specifications of the camera, I think, are more suited to what I require anyway, with all the speed camera monitoring on it and so on and so forth. So anyway, so that's what I decided to do. I bought the Thinkware one and it arrived yesterday, and I'm going to hardwire it into the Mustang, and I'm going to do a video on. I'll continue this video onto that. I'm going to hardwire it using these fuse taps that go into the fuse box in the on the UK model, on the driver's side footwell. So I've got to get access to there, and there's a couple of fuses that need to go in. And disappointingly, one of the things that I thought, to set the camera up, I thought I'd actually get like a cigarette lighter adapter with it, so that I could just plug it in, set it up and get it all pointing in the right direction and so on. But it didn't come with one, so it's just come, that's the front camera there. It's just come with a hardwire kit. So what I'm going to do is, so I don't have to wire it all up first and then try and get everything aligned, because you have to do that with your iPhone or Android phone. I'm going to use this 12-volt battery that my wife uses down the field to energise the electric fence. So it's just a 12-volt, little 12-volt alarm, house alarm type battery. So I'm going to use that to do all my setting up, and get the cameras front and rear in exactly the correct position, and then you know, and then I'll do the hard wiring kit, which is there. A red, white and a black. Sorry, a red, yellow and a black. Red is a permanent supply, I think. Yellow is a switch supply, and the black is obviously is an earth. So that's okay. Mounting pads for USB, so you can take your memory card out and plug it into your computer and see what footage you've got. And then there's all the leads and the very tiny rear view camera as well. So yeah, so I'm going to try and do a really neat install on this. There's a few more sticky pads and so on. That's all there is there. And then this one came with a 32GB micro SD card with an SD adapter. So again, you can plug that into your computer and see what's on the card. I might update the card to you know, 64 gig or something like that, but I'll see how I go with that one first. So yeah, that's how it's that's the starting. So luckily for us, with the Mustang, the Mustang actually comes with a really quite a large area here of blacked out part of the screen. So I'm hoping I can mount everything behind there, and then just have the lens, if you like, just poking underneath there. So I'm trying to get as a discreet installation as possible, really. But unfortunately I already have something already mounted up there, which I'm going to have to remove and then remount that. I don't know if you can see behind the mirror there, that little white or cream coloured box. That's a SANEF tag. That's for when I go abroad to France. That gets you through to the toll roads without having to stop and pay. They just send you a bill when you get home, and it's really handy because we're right-hand drive, obviously, and in France all the toll booths are on the left-hand side. So if you're travelling by yourself, it means you have to get out of the car to pay. But with that, you don't. You just drive through, and it's really useful. But that's going to have to come off, and I'm going to have to remount that somewhere. But apparently, it has to be mounted in that shaded area. So yeah, so I'm going to have to figure that one out as well. And then at the back, I've got tinted screen anyway, or tint on there. So I think the back's not going to be. You're not going to really see the camera there. But I'm going to route the wires. I'm going to have to remove some trim, obviously, A-pillar trim, and some trim down here on the step to get in, just to route the wires down into the fuse box, which is down there by the gas pedal, or the accelerator pedal as we would call it. So a little bit awkward and a little bit fiddly, I think, but all doable, obviously. Okay guys, back again. Right, so as you can see there, I've got a little 12-volt battery which I've connected the camera up to. This is the front camera, obviously, and I've managed to connect it to Wi-Fi and have a bit of a play with some of the settings and so on. And really, I thought the best thing to do is to mount this on the screen where I want it, and then I can work from there. So there's my iPad, which is set up with the Thinkware, not the Thinkware, the Dashcam software, which shows you the alignment lines on the thing. So if I pick the camera up, you can see the camera's in my hand now, and face it out the window there, you can see. So I have to align, excuse the reflections, not a lot I can do about that, I'm sorry. I have to align the green line with the edge of my bonnet, and the blue line with the centre of the car. Unfortunately, it's quite tricky to determine where the centre is, so I've put some, I don't know if you can see it out there with the camera, or with this camera actually, yeah, you probably can. I've put some red tape down the centre of the bonnet to align the blue line with, and I'm just going to have a little play. I've cleaned all the area where I want to stick it, but with this... Disconnected from a smartphone, continuous recording starts. With this 3M tape, I think you only get one bite of the cherry with it, really, so I've got to make sure I get it straight. So one of the other things I've done is I'll show you. I'll just mount this camera up and I'll show you what I've done. Let's just put that there. Back of the seat there. Hopefully you can see what I'm up to. So I've got my dash cam, and I've got a very small spirit level. There's a couple of pieces of double-sided sticky tape stuck on it, so I'm going to stick that on the camera, and hopefully that'll help me to keep it straight while I'm trying to mount it in the right position. So I just need to make sure that, yes, when I remove that, if that's fixed to the screen, I pull it towards myself to remove it, so that's fine, and push it away to lock it in. So I'm just going to stick this to the end of the bottom of the camera. don't know if you can see that, but there's my there's my spirit level there, so hopefully that will help me get this aligned straight. So for some reason I've lost the connection on the live view now. Let's connect.
Connected to a smartphone. Recording stops.
Fine, okay, that's what I wanted. So yep, let's see, yep, we're looking at the dashboard on the camera, and I just need to be able to mount that up there, get my spirit level somewhere there. Right, I got you, somewhere there, and I need to go to the left. Okay, with the help of sitting in the passenger seat and moving everything forward, I've managed to get the unit mounted there behind the mirror, and everything's in line. So that's good. That's a good start. So what I'm going to do is
disconnected from a smartphone. Continuous recording starts.
I wish it would shut up. Anyway, I'm still connected to the battery there, so I'll disconnect that shortly. So I'm going to route the wire. This is the power cable that's coming out the back there, and then there's another cable to go in, which has to go towards the back of the car for the rear camera when I mount that as well. But I'm going to route the wiring up this cable here, and then along the roof line and down that A-pillar, because there's a neat little cover to go over that wiring, so it should hide it well within the mirror wiring and the rain sensor wiring there. So hopefully it'll all be pretty neat and hidden there. So that's that bit done. So it's just connecting the power up now, which is going to be down into the joyous place of the driver's side footwell. A bit more awkward than the left-hand drive cars, because the door that opens for the fuse panel, the accelerator pedal is right in the way of it, so it's not quite as straightforward as it would be on a left-hand drive vehicle, but that's where the fuse box is, so you have to work with what you got. So this is the cable for the rear camera, which connects to the front camera and then to the rear camera. And just anybody else who's considering doing this job, this cable has got a right-angled connector on one end and a straight one on the other end. They're both like the mini USB type cables, but apparently I wasn't sure which way round this went, and there's nothing in the instruction manual to tell you. So I thought I'd just check. I would have guessed that the right-angled piece went into the front camera, but I didn't want to do that in case I was wrong, and then because once you've routed it, you've routed it. So you have to pull it all out again if you're wrong. Anyway, apparently, well, according to somebody on YouTube, it only works that way around. So this right-angled piece has to go to the front camera. Apparently on the older version of this camera it doesn't matter, but on this version, according to this chap, it does. Personally, I can't see that it would matter, but the cable that's already in there is a right-angled cable anyway, so it makes sense that this would be right-angled as well to fit in there into there neatly and come out of the back. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So just be aware of that it has to go that way around. So I'm going to do what he did, because his works, and then hopefully mine will work. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see there very clearly or not, but I'll attempt to show you anyway. But yeah, both cables do go up that piece of trim there. So this is the power cable coming out here, and you've got to leave enough so that you can remove the thing from the windscreen, and then on the other side the cable that's going to the rear camera is coming out as well. But both cables run up inside that little piece of trim there, so that they're quite hidden quite nicely. If I put the mirror back up, I can't see them at all really. So there. So yeah. Then running along the head lining here, I've got my power cable. So that's ready. That's all tucked up there nicely behind the head lining. So I've just got to remove this A-pillar trim and run it down the A-pillar and into the fuse box. And on the other side it's exactly the same scenario with the rear camera cable, but instead of running it down, I'm going to run it along this edge here, along to the back. So yeah, got to start removing a bit of trim now. So I've just run the cable down the top of the A-pillar. What is useful is a really nice wide trim tool like this, these plastic cheap ones off eBay, and just get it in there, into there like that. Just leave it back lightly. There's no need to remove this A-pillar trim at all. It will, the cable is tucked behind there really nicely. So as you can see there, I'm just running it down the A-pillar. And we're getting ourselves in a knot here, but we're getting there. Yeah, and I've just removed that piece of trim there, the little side piece, and this little piece of aluminium trim that goes here. Now they just pop out nicely. Again, use the wide tool to spread the load, and then next I shall be removing this piece of trim here, and then getting access to the fuse panel. So yeah, there's no need to remove this A-pillar one. Well, there's an airbag in there anyway, so it's probably best that, you know, the less you disturb that, the better. But as you can see there, the cable tucks in there nicely as you go along. Just work it in with your fingers, and if needs be, just put the tool in lightly like that, just to lever away, and then run the cable down there. No need for me to film that, but you get the principle, you get the idea. So there you go, just to give you an idea what I'm doing with the rear cable. Like I say, just get a wide tool like this one, and there's a nice little recess behind the head lining, and you can just tuck everything into there. So it goes in nicely. Again, if you just peel back the rubber slightly, there's a, like I say, just a really nice little recess behind the head lining that takes this cable really nicely. Actually, it's going to be quite neat. So once you get it started, just a case of feeding it in. There's no need to film all doing this, but as I say, just once you get started, there's a lovely little recess just behind the rubber seal, and that should follow all the way through to the back. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm at the point now where I need to connect up the rear camera and get it all aligned and so on. So as you can see, I've done the same as I did at the front. I've put some red tape on the boot lid so I can find the centre, and the wiring's all in place. I've got my little 12-volt battery set up, so I'm just going to get into the back of the car, which for me is a bit tricky, but I'll get in there and mount the rear camera and get it all aligned, and see where we go from there. See if I can, not sure if I can get close enough with the camera for you to see what I'm up to, but hopefully you might be able to. I'll leave it running, and then if it doesn't work out, I'll edit it out. So plug this one in. So it's mounted up now. Wires are all tucked away. That's as good as it's going to get, I think. Okay, now we're at this stage where I have to make the final connections. Now, I've done my research on the internet, and there are just 3 wires to connect if you're hard wiring these in. We've got the yellow wire there, which goes to the battery. So it clearly says battery on it, so that's got to be a permanently supplied 12-volt connection, which on the Mustang, in the fuse box in the footwell, is fuse number 2. So I've been down there. That's fuse number 2. But these have fuses in already, so it's just another protection really. But I'm using the add a circuit fuses. The accessory, which is the red wire, that has to go to fuse 23. So I'll go over to I'll show you the or adder circuit fuses that I bought, and show you how those are set up. So these are what I bought off eBay. They weren't very expensive, but they are a convenient way of adding a circuit into a car. You can get them out of the packet. Okay, so apparently with these, what you have to do is the original fuse that comes out of the circuit goes in this slot here, the one that is closest to the prongs, and then that protects the original circuit. Then the added circuit goes into the second slot here, which for me, for fuse 2, I'm going to have to put a 7.5 amp fuse into that one and a 10 amp fuse into the other. Okay, so the fuses in the fuse box are the same as the ones that I'm going to be putting in here anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. So the fuse 2, which is the yellow wire, is a 7.5 amp fuse. So basically we just put 2 7.5 amps into here. They slot in there nicely, and one will protect the original circuit and one will protect the camera. So that's that one. So that is going to be my yellow wire. So I probably need to put a little bit of yellow tape or something on there, just so which I will do actually. I'll put some yellow tape on so that I know. And then the other circuit is 2 10 amp fuses, so same again. One to protect the original circuit and one to protect the cameras. Okay, so all I have to do now, which is going to be really tricky to film, is remove the fuses out of the appropriate slots in the footwell, which is, as I say, 2 and 23, and then plug these in and connect them up to the camera wires that I've just shown you before. Now the other thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to change these crimps. I don't like these crimps particularly. They're okay, I'm sure they'll be fine inside the car, but these ones are better. These are, you can heat shrink these ones down, so they do a much better job of making the joint secure. So that's why I'm going to be using those. Okay, so I'm going to get on and do that now. As I say, I don't think I can film it. I can't get a camera in that footwell and my body as well, and get you to see where the film. But the fuses are numbered. You know, it's quite obvious which ones are which, so I wouldn't worry too much. The other thing is that when these go in, they go in upside down like that. So the fuse goes in that way. You plug it in that way, not that way. Okay, so I'm going to get on and do that now. Okay, just so that you can see what I'm doing, I've cut off the original connectors on there because I prefer to use mine. So I'm just going to trim a bit of wire off the end. Get my crimpers. Red to red. So there we have what should be two nice solid connections there, which I'm happy with. So all I have to do now is pull those two fuses out of the fuse box and push these two in, and then find a suitable earth for that, which I think there is a bolt there which I can use for that one, and then put all the trim back, and that's the camera installation done, hopefully. Okay folks, just bear with me for a minute in an attempt to show you the connections. Just see if I can get down with the camera down here, and hopefully you can see what I've done. But yeah, I think you can just see there. Let's get a torch. You can see the two circuits that I've added. One with the yellow banding on the wire and the red one next to it. So that's fuse 2 and fuse 23 there. They're all secure. And then what I've done is I've cable tied the rest of the cable up here, as you can see here. I just cable tied those connectors up. I'll just tuck that little earth wire away neatly, which I've connected to this bolt here. So basically all I've got to do now is put this kickboard back in down here, put this side trim back on here and the bit of the fascia finishing board there, and I'm calling it job done. I've tried the camera, it's working when I switch the ignition on. So the next step will be to, as I say, put the plastics all back on and then go for a drive and see how it works. And whatever footage I get, I'll post some up at the back of this video, and you know, we can see how the camera works. But yeah, all in all, the installation's not too bad. I mean, I've said it before, so I'll say it again, I'm not the fastest of workers. I do take my time with these things, I have to, but I would have said 2 hours of work really. But then again, I've made, you know, a special effort to hide all the wires, and the hardest bit was to mount the front camera and get those wires up there neat and hidden away, which I think I've done reasonably well actually, even if I say so myself. They're all up in the same wiring as the mirror wiring and the wiper sensor wiring, so it's all hidden pretty well. The back camera, as you can see, is there in the rear windscreen, which is good, but I'm not sure how it's actually aligned yet. I think it's okay, but as I say, we'll find out when we do a bit of footage and see what we get back on the recordings when I get back. I'll go for a short drive shortly, and be interesting to see how it works. So yeah, from the front, just so you can see, it's not as discreet as the black view camera, without a doubt. I think the black view one would be more discreet on that front windscreen, but if you stand back, it doesn't look too bad, I suppose. But anyway, that's not the reason I bought it. I bought it because of, you know, I'd like to protect myself against people who are out to do no good with scamming and bumping into cars and doing damage, and then driving off and so on. So yeah, that's the main reason for it. Okay, back soon. Okay, before I finish, one of the things I want to check before I put all those plastic panels back on is that it's actually working in parking mode. So the car is basically pretending it's locked up at the moment. Hang on, no it's not. It hasn't locked up, so let's just lock the car. So if the car's parked up, it should be able to detect any bumps or knocks. So I'm just going to kick the tyre. So I connect to the iPad and see if it recorded any activity then. Be interesting. Okay. Let's see what we've got on here now.
During parking mode, event detection recording. 2. Occurred. GPS connected.
Ah, yes, so it worked. It detected me either slamming the door or kicking the wheel, one of the other. It certainly detected, it said it was in parking mode.
Recording will now start.
So that's good. So I'm going to connect to Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi enabled.
And then see what those occurrences were. So it's saying we're connected to the Thinkware there. Go back to the app. Connect to Wi-Fi.
Connected to a smartphone. Recording stops.
Okay. And then I should be able to incident parking images. incident parking. Right, yeah, it's got those occurred 11:29, which is, yeah. So let's see what it's saying. Yep, it's detected me. I don't know if you could see that then on the screen, but it detected me kicking the wheel. The back of the vehicle, incident parking. If I look at that video, let's say it's the iPad playing silly sods. It shows me coming to the back of the vehicle and opening the boot. So yeah, that's parking mode working. So I'm happy now to put all the plastics back on and then go out and try it.
Continuous recording will now start.
Oh babe, that ain't the way to behave. For days. Oh babe, that ain't the way to behave. Got up early in the morning just to see the sun was rising. There were clouds in the sky. Oh babe, that ain't the way to behave. Yep, yellow lines don't mean much. Just stop where you like. Even on a Pelican crossing, look, on the zigzags. Don't give a shit, do they? That was for the benefit of a bystander who was filming the car as he was walking past. Copper's got the bikers, look, bastard. Probably small number plate, tyre check, just hassle them, hassle all the bikers in North Wales. Doing a good job there, mate. Not.